Hey everybody, this is me, the Undead Viking, and this is Mobster Metropolis. Mobster Metropolis is a area control mobster themed game. You can probably guess the theme anyway. Where each person is going to be vying for control over a city that was once ruled over by a really big, huge, powerful mob boss, but he has since passed away, and now everybody is left scrabbling to basically make a name for themselves and take over the city. You will purchase illicit businesses, you will place them on the board, and then you will spend a lot of time both defending your own businesses while also attacking your opponents as well, trying to take their money away and trying to ruin them, because you want to make a name for yourself by being kind of brutal and vicious, but you also want to make a lot of money, because money is going to actually end up being a real big deciding factor in how powerful and how what your rep is on the street. And whoever ends up with the highest reputation or victory points is going to be the winner of the game. Let me show you how the game is played. It's pretty awesome. It's one of these really smooth playing games, and I'll probably mention that a few times as I'm doing this, because I really like just the structure of the turns, and they go through really well and really quickly, and so it allows you as the players to actually get down to the fun of taking over the town, corrupting it, and for lack of a better term, but also elevating yourself and being able to live out the life of a gangster. Alright, so cool. Let's talk about Mobster Metropolis. Alright, so here is Mobster Metropolis, and I'm going to actually show you what you're looking at first, and I'm going to tell you what happens on a game turn. Now, I have set this game up for a 4-player game, but it does work as a 2- and a 3-player game as well. Like when you play a 2-player game, though, the board will be shrunk, like some of the districts or whatever that you normally would be putting your illicit businesses and what have you, they won't be open. So you make sure that you constrict the board so that there is going to be people butting heads against each other as far as trying to control territory and what have you. All right, so each one of these little squares is a district. They're represented by the letters A, B, C, all the way through I, and then each one has a number on there. That's a really important distinction, because when we get to the actual phase where you're going to be sending out your gangsters in their little cars to either protect or attack different players' turf, it's a really important distinction as far as how you will secretly say, I'm going to attack D4 or whatever, and so then you'll attack that spot. Each one of these spots randomly gets a token that's like this, and you get a bunch of them. Obviously there's 9 of them out here, but I still have a lot left over. Each one of those will have an effect on the spot that little district or that little block of the area. The bank gives more income, obviously. Like the high school, if you have combat there, you gain more reputation. And reputation is this track that's located over here on the side, and whoever ends up with the most reputation at the end of the game wins the game. So, but the game actually, when you draw police cards, which you can see right over there, when you draw police cards, what will happen is that the most stringent penalties happen to the people that have the highest reputation. So obviously it's a double-edged sword there. You also are going to be earning money, I should mention, and when you have a bunch of money at the end of the game, you're able to turn that money into reputation. So that's one of the things you have to keep a track of. Also, before I get too much further, each person will have a player shield that they'll have that covers up their stuff, so people won't know how much money they have or whatever. I mean, they can have an idea, but it's one of those things where at the end of the game, there'll be some kind of secrets revealed, that sort of thing. Each person will get a mobster cards. This is like Corella's Bastard, and then they have different rules that will depending upon when your reputation, because notice that there's 0, 6, and 12. As you gain reputation, you unlock certain powers. So at the very beginning, you have a 0. So place 1 face-up mobster during the Delegate Phase. So each one just has little abilities. So this is save any amount of cards for the next round. Normally you can't do that, so they just kind of break the rules in some way. Which obviously I always like those in games, because it makes your character you're playing distinct. You know, you aren't just all just kind of homogenized or whatever. All right, so actually the phases are actually listed over here really well. It goes news, draft, invest, delegate, I should say, scheme, reveal, police, drive-by, and collect. And it actually runs really smoothly, and you'll do 5 turns. Now, you get a bunch of these police cards, and the police cards have 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the bottom, designating that they happen on 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5th round. You get the same thing for these newspaper cards. But you get 5 of each, so there's 25 cards of each of those total. And then you draw 1 of each, and those are the cards you'll be using that game. So lots of variability, always a good thing. And so the very first newspaper always tells you Corella's legacy, and these are these tokens that you see that are out here. The first person to get there will claim that prize, whether it is, you know, this money, or getting a black market card, or a mobster, stuff like that. So you get those bonuses when you do that, and you notice that depending upon the number of players, you have more and more of them. All right, so after the first round, what you'll have is basically a bidding phase, and this will tell you before bidding, reveal 1 black market card and 1 mobster card. The winner takes 1 and discards the other. So, and bidding occurs after the first round. Bidding happens. Classic bidding where you put the money in your hand. So like here's some money chits. So you have money in your hand. You turn it over. Everybody puts their hand in the middle. Everybody reveals. Whoever bids the most wins. If there's a tie, then those 2 players put their money, or 3, or or 4, if all 4 of you tied. You all put your money down in front of you, and then you draw more money, and then you bid again to break the tie. And then people that lost the bid get to keep their money. People that won the bid obviously spend the money for that bid. So after that's done, you're going to do a drafting phase. What happens is each person's going to draw 2 of these black market cards and 2 of these mobster cards. They're going to look in their hand. They're going to figure out which cards they want. And I'll talk about these in just a second here. And they'll pick one, and they will hand them to the person on their left. And it might be tough to see, but it basically, the first round goes to the left, second's the right, third's the left, 4th is the right, and 5th is finally the left. So you do go back and forth, and then you just basically you draft until everybody has 4 cards. And so like you have different things like drive-by combat. This card is 1 attack or 1 defense, but only if you have a protector in the spot. Here's a lockpick. Can only be played if you are the single attacker. Take and collect 1 money chit from the targeted turf. The combat ends and no player gains reputation. So in the invest phase, Cuban Cigars, you and another player of your choice gets $3. And drive-by, this is actually like one, because the cards actually are really good because they tell you exactly which phase. So late to the party, it allows you to switch between a defender to a money chit, and so you can I switch one of your monies to a defender. I did that backwards, but you understand what I'm saying. So these are just cards, and like I said, you'll hand those cards off, and you'll have your hand of cards that you're going to be using. So then you're going to do the invest phase, and during the invest phase, you're going to be taking your money and you're going to be doing lots of different things. But the big things you're going to be doing, and each person takes an action, the next person takes an action, next person takes an action, and so on and so forth, until you pass. When you pass, you're out, and then everybody else keeps going on without you. So, big thing during investments is you will build like turf. So like here's a greenhouse. Let's go ahead and I can show you. So here is like a warehouse, a brothel. So you have all these, and there's even a really big giant like casino that goes like that. Here's a distillery. And so when you build a turf, what you do is you just you take the turf that you want. You have to pay the cost to build it. So this is $8. And then you can see here's 1 reputation, so points, obviously. And then it will always gain you $2 whenever your income from the turf is for $2. But and I'll show you how this happens. But when you invest into the spot, basically you apply. You're gonna put like the managers like that like take care of like the place or whatever. They can earn you these little money tokens for each one, and each one will be worth $3. And you'll notice that this one says we need this dude working there. You can tell by the looks, obviously. So when you place it, you have to cover up the locations. This is where if you cover up a spot, you gain the token. So like if you did over here, you'd gain a black market card for doing that. So you place that in that spot, you pay the money, and now you have a warehouse on G1 and 2. Pretty simple, right? So really, and also during the investment phase, you can purchase cars, and the cars go in your little garages here, and so you can see the first one's $5 and so forth as it goes up. When you do this, you just have these on there, and you to show that when the combat phase comes, you're going to have cars that are available for you to both attack and defend at that time. You can also, at that time, you are able to hire these little mobs. Now, the mobsters you can choose are these dealers, which I showed you. Those are $2. The madams, and these cost $2. And the like thugs, basically the guys that protect the spot. All right, so the way these work is that you'll notice that there's these locations that are where you can put things in the street, and so if they're attached to that spot, so like if you had a thug there and you had a dealer there, they would then give you, like the thug would give you this little token that gives +1 defense into that. And if you had, like let's just say for example later on you built a greenhouse in this location, I mean you could move the defense over to the greenhouse if you wanted. So you have those options. And then and this guy would put this little money token on there, and that would increase the income and put that income. But you don't get to take that income right away. The reason that's on there is that it's basically it's there to be taken, unfortunately, right? So if somebody is able to attack you and remove that, they're going to be able to cash that in for money right away. And so, like, obviously, like having that on there, if you did, like if you didn't have the defense like this, and you could have 2 of these dealers like so, and you could, have an extra, one on there, like basically, so then there's be 2 tokens on there. Each one of those would be worth $3. So you can see where that would, all of a sudden now people are going to be thinking, wow, I need to go rob that place, obviously. But, you can have good black market cards, or, you're going to be able to use your own cars that you purchased for defense as well. And I'll explain this. I'll explain that once we get to the combat phase. All right. You can also, at this time, you can buy a black market card, which are these cards right here. You pay $3, and then you draw 3, and you pick one, and you discard the rest. You pay $3 to start with. As you go up on the reputation track over there, it starts off at $3, and then once you get up to 8 a reputation, it's $4, and then 16 reputation, it costs $5 to do that. So the more reputable you get, the tougher it is to buy those black market cards. And apparently, maybe the cops are watching you closer or whatever like that. And you can also, if you have a card that you can play during the invest phase, remember that SCAR card? You can play that as an action in this as well. So once everybody's done with all their actions, because they don't want to take it or any more money or anything like that, that's when now you do a delegate phase, and that's when these tokens go out. I did that a little early, but during the delegation phase is when you'll place those tokens as far as the money tokens or the defense tokens, and you'll do that for all of your locations on that turn. So once that is done, now you're going to do scheming. And scheming happens to determine where you're going to be sending your cars to attack. Now this is kind of a cool thing. So each person gets one of these little tokens, and what they do is that, and so this is for car 1, car 2, car 3, car 4, car 5. So what you do is you just pick which district you want to go to and which turf. Now this is the one I have here. Has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it doesn't have the letters. It's a prototype that I was sent. So just bear in mind. So like if I have even though this is G, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I wanted to have both of my cars protect me, I could go 7 and I could go turf 1 like so, because that would say that this car is going to protect G1. And then maybe I didn't have anybody at that greenhouse, so maybe I want to send my other car, same deal. I could go District 7, and then, but now I'd pick Turf 3. Let me just try that here. Of course I can't turn this thing back. There, got it. Sorry, so then you would have that. Now everybody's going to do that. Now obviously I haven't done the entire turn for everybody, so like the other player like blue, and then across the table I have the other two players, so white and red, that have chosen things as well. So then we do a reveal, and we reveal exactly where all of these things are going. So if I just did defense like this and like this, then I can place those, and I can show that those two cars are going to be protecting those two locations. And I should mention that there probably would be no reason to defend this because there's no money token on there, so I'm just going to put a money token on there just to have that one on there. So you can kind of see what happens here in the next phase. But anyway, so put those on there. Now, let's say when blue went, they sent both of their cars, to this spot over here. They sent them both to this greenhouse. And so they're attacking twice, but they didn't send anything here. And that's like the whole reveal moment of wondering where exactly people are going to go and what exactly they're going to do. And so you have to kind of decide, guess. And this is, of course, when, the negotiation, the conversation can happen between you and the other players at the table. You can kind of figure out what you're going to do and what's going on as far as, can you trust somebody? Hey, I want to attack you. You don't attack me this round. That sort of thing. So you reveal, and then you know what's going to happen. But before that, before you do anything else, you do the police phase. And the police phase is just this. So it says this is the level 1, and says like the high. If you are the person with the highest reputation, you discard 1 card or lose reputation. If you're in the middle, you reveal 1 card or you lose. And if you're the lowest on the totem pole, you just enjoy the view. Nothing bad happens to you. Now let's just look at round 5, just to show you. So in round 5, if you're the top one, you either pay $7 or you lose 2. You pay $5 or you lose 2, or you pay $3 or you lose 2. So, as it increases, obviously the bad things can happen. And obviously, the highest person is the highest person, the lowest person is the lowest person, and then the medium people are just everybody that's in the middle if you're playing a 4-player game. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker is money, just so you know. Then after the police phase, you will go to the actual combat phase, or the drive-by phase. In the drive-by phase, there's no dice or anything with combat or anything like that. The drive-by phase is just you're going to handle all of these different combats, and there's going to be lots of them all over the place. And you take turns to conduct the actions, so it isn't just like you go from each spot and just do each of the combats or anything like that. So during the actions, you can initiate on your turn. You can initiate resolve a drive-by combat, which would be over here. You can play a mobster card from your hand. Sometimes, these will have like cousin in town, attack a turf, as if you would do a drive-by with one of your own. So there's that's one of those late to the party where you switch to, and hopefully turn-wise, you get to do that for anybody else. Last minute orders, you may relocate one of your cars to another turf and directly carry out a drive-by there. So you can have these mobster cards that allow you to change those things as actions. Combat, it works really, really simple. So these two, each one of these is worth 1. That's 2, and this one's worth 1. So it's 2 versus 1 right now, as far as the combat is concerned. But you get to change that by having cards that you can play, these drive-by combat cards that you can play that will change things up. So, like here, like a 2 attack or 1 defense, but only if you have a mobster there, and we don't have a mobster in the location, so we only have 1 defense. So like you can, and the thing is that you have to play a card. And that's why you get these cards. That it basically says, unarmed, return this card to your hand, you cannot sell or otherwise. But basically this is kind of a bluff card. You're going to have all these you're going to have black marker cards in your hand, and you're going to pick one and you're going to put it down. And so hopefully, even though you've kind of maybe given up and you're just going to probably lose the combat, or maybe you think your defense is good enough to win anyway, you're going to put this one out there, and you're going to force people to like spend like good cards, like the sawed-off shotgun, and determine the battle. So like, you know, you put that card out there, blue thinks, oh gosh, I better spend a really good card, but they would have won anyway. They wouldn't have had to play any of the cards when they reveal. After you reveal you know, you determine who wins. The defender, if the defender ties the attacker, then the defender wins and nothing happens. If the attacker wins, then you have whoever is the difference between the two totals. So in this case, if they won 2 versus 1, they get to take one of these tokens and immediately cash it in for the value from that particular location, which in this case is $5. And so that blue would take this and they would change it in, you know, they would immediately give it back to the other player, and they'd take a $5 chit, like so. And that would be the end of that. Now, it is possible for multiple players to be involved in a combat. Because of the random reveal, you could have a red player, like in that same combat there, and wanting to fight over that money that's on that greenhouse. If that happens, you do the combat as normal, and whoever has the highest combat value wins the combat still. However, if you have a tie between the attackers as far as their combat, then whoever initiated the combat gets the reward. So, you know, it's just one of those things where, once again, you know, being the first person to activate or take the action to activate that particular combat is usually, you know, you want to be the person that does that, because that's only going to help you. So after all of those drive-bys are done, now you do your collection phase. You collect all the money that you would normally get from all of your warehouses, the normal income, and then if you still have any of your incomes, you get to turn those in for money. You take all the money, return everything to everybody's hands, remove everything from the board, and then you start it all up again. And you return the cars to your respective garages. And you start up the next round. You do get reputation. You get a reputation when you win battles. That's a reputation thing because you're known as a big bad mobster team, right? So just remember, you get a reputation. You do get a reputation bonus for winning battles as well. After 5 turns are done, you will see wherever he is in the reputation track, and then you will trade in all of your money. You'll get 1 reputation per $5. So and you're rounding down, and then after that, after everybody's traded in their money, whoever has the most reputation at the end of the game, it takes over the Mobster Metropolis, and they are the new mob boss. So there you go. It is a lot of fun. It's one of these like really smooth playing games too. It's something I really enjoy. But there's lots of aspects that I like. I like drafting cards. I like the theme. I really like this. I like this reveal thing where everybody has this, and then they pop it open and show you where they're going and who they're attacking. I really like that aspect of it a lot. So. As far as area control games, and it has a lot of stuff like that. Like I've played in some other games as well, but I really enjoy the theme of this one. Obviously, I like mobster themed games. But let me talk more about that in my final thoughts. All right, Mobster Metropolis. There you go. So first of all, Big Giant, I love the gangster theme. I think that is something that there's been lots of gangster games out there, but I mean, I've always the theme seems to get applied to a lot of I would say not really gangster games, right? Like you'll get some gangster themed card game and okay, yeah, but this doesn't really feel like I'm a gangster. It doesn't feel like I'm a mobster. It doesn't feel like I'm taking over the turf or doing what gangsters do, right? So when games like this come around and they actually do kind of feel like that, I like this whole process of taking over turf and this is our land, this is where we live, this is our block, so to speak, and you have these little rackets and what have you. I like that. I mean, it's something fun to kind of see your territory grow and expand and change itself up and things like that. And and plus, there's lots of games that I've played that kind of initiate combat between players, but it's something like this. I really I like the secret knowledge aspect of it, and I liken this a lot, to one of my all-time favorite games, Game of Thrones board game, where you're giving orders. The whole process of the little dials and picking the orders and telling people to go off and do things. That hidden order type of thing, right? When everybody has their dials and they're locking everything in for all of their cars, and you're wondering who is going to be attacking, who's going to be defending. Do I need to worry about this building? Do I need to worry about this one? Do I need to be worried about this one? Who else is going to attack that person over there? And that's where that open conversation happens, and the negotiations, and who can you trust? Who can you rely on? Can you get everybody to gang up on the person that's in the lead at that time? Stuff like that, which I enjoy that part of the game a great deal. And of course, that's where you get the narrative and the story and the immersion, which is something that's really important in games like this, I think. If this was just, 9 squares on a thing and we were just kind of fighting over it with little wooden cubes or whatever, that it wouldn't be as much fun. It is this, narrative theme, this driving theme of mobsters and gangsters that really makes this game, shine above its mechanisms and things like that. And I had a fantastic time every single time I played this. I was at me and my friends were at each other's throats the entire time, and especially since you don't know how much money each person has, and it's one of those things at the end where it's like you might be in the lead, but that final cash in, you might have been the most brutal person and won a lot of combats or whatever, but at the end, it's like maybe that quiet person in the corner who just, slowly but surely just climbed the ladder, without anybody noticing, ends up with the win. So, for all those reasons, man, Mobster Metropolis, really, really fun. If you like area control games, if you like conflict games, if you like mobster theme games, I think you're going to want to put this one on your shelf. You'll have a lot of fun with it. So, there you go. If you have any questions about it, please ask away. I'll be happy to answer those as best as I can. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I am the Undead Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye-bye.